their daily life. So just following them, getting that sound and that footage. Yeah.
So you're going to do something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You liked Martin Dobermeyer because he was organised, he used a lot of his own original footage.
Yeah.
And that's inspired you. So what ideas have you got about that so far? So you've mentioned a few shot types. Go over them again for me.
Yeah, so I want medium shots, long shots, I want close-up shots, and then kind of in between, so medium close-up and things like that. And I want to capture like the details of the church and the details of the paintings in more depth, so I'd go closer in with the camera and further away. This could be used in a zoom lens as well.
Okay, so that gives us the audience more interest in what you're doing because it's a variety of shots.
Yeah.
You mentioned with Herzog he had a backstory. So you've got, is it Ivan?
Yeah, Ivan, yeah.
So what's important about his story? How does that work for you?
So I've called with him twice already, and he said he grew up in the church from age 6. And I talked to him about that, and he said about the memories there, how the church has changed over the years, how they used to have like a food bank there, and now it's completely changed from what it used to be. There's not as many people, the risk of it being shut down during COVID. I spoke to him about all of that, so it's just about getting it all captured on camera now and getting the right shot types.
So, do you need to work on a story, a narrative? Are you going to follow his narrative with your camera?
Yeah, I feel like he has enough to say for me to follow his narrative. I don't think I would include that much, although if I was going to include more like voiceovers and stuff, I would talk more about the history than his life story. So it's kind of like two different things interconnecting.
Okay. Have you voice tested him yet?
Yes, when I went to test. The voiceover is quite good on my camera, but I could use an external mic to make it even better.
Okay, but you're happy with the way?
Yeah, yeah.
It gives authenticity again,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Okay. You had a lovely slide showing like lighting within the church.
Yeah.
Could you call it up on
Yeah.
screen? Right. I'm really interested in this one. Bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
Is that actually in the church, or is that something else?
No, that's something I found online, but it looks like that within the church. So I could have gone in and taken a picture
The
of.
one with the orange light?
No, I've got that from online as well.
Okay. What I'm really interested in is how you, if you've got, that's Ivan there.
Yeah.
If you record him, that's a pretty straightforward shot of somebody in the church. If you go to the other slides where you've got sort of composition shot types, can we see those?
Yeah.
Right. I'm interested in how you can capture Ivan, in particular with reference to the lighting that's in the church.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I think you've alluded to, and I'm hoping you're going to explore more.
Yeah.
When people are talking, if you're really close with them, it's much more intimate.
Yeah.
So by all means, you can establish the shots where he is, perhaps him walking into the church, sitting down. But then if you can work out the lighting from there and get that to work for you, that's what I'm hoping you're going to bring to this project.
Yeah.
Okay, so lighting's going to be a big one. You've got some challenges already, I've seen, in what you've shown me.
Yeah.
So the difference between this and year 1 is the problem-solving element to it.
Yeah. I've already got so much that I can put into that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, something you need to be wary of. You're shooting inside, you're panning around, and then you've got the outside shot, which is quite bright.
Yeah.
So your exposure is going to be affected. Likewise, you've got that shot of the church, and it's in full colour capture, and then it's been blown out in graveyard.
Yeah.
So you need to think about that. And when you film it, I think time of day might be important.
Okay.
Early morning, late evening, perhaps manipulate the light that's there. It's flattening it quite a bit in the daytime,
Yeah.
whereas actually, and it's quite a modern looking church with the build, so I think lighting could be everything for this, and you've got colour palettes working to introduce some of that. I think is going to help you. Right, very organised, clear evidence that you've got a project plan and you're sticking to it, and we know you, and that's what we expect from you.
Yeah.
It's really about, I suppose if it was me, I would suggest that you get the story with Ivan sorted first,
Yeah.
and that's going to give you your visual clues then when you're recording with the camera. When are you planning on doing the filming?
Anytime now, really, the weekend coming up.
Right.
I want to get it done earlier than possible, but I could do some now and then some late. I just kind of want to get something that I can work with, you know.
So when are you next meeting up with Ivan?
Well, I can speak to him for the weekend or the next weekend
Okay,
after that,
this is what I'm thinking, okay? And you probably thought this one through already. You introduce Ivan, he's going to be sitting somewhere probably in the church. As soon as he starts speaking, we can then overlay the visuals.
Yeah.
As he's talking, the visuals come in, and then we come back to Ivan talking. And when you are recording him, you could do it in sections.
Okay.
So that he talks about something, then you can stop, give him a rest, and he starts about. In the actual recording, you won't notice it because you'll have the overlays that will hide any cuts taking place. Gives you an opportunity to take it through. What I'm going to suggest is, and you've probably got this, if he is telling a story, you could break it down into chapters if you like. Talk about this, talk about this, talk about that, talk about that. Okay. How's it going to end?
Well, I know that he's a singer, so I thought it would be a nice touch to add on to the end, him singing, a bit of him singing, to do the male voice choir. I feel like that would be a nice way to end it, and his connections with the church, because he's actually sung there before a couple of times.
Okay. So, these are things now I want you to take from this recording and make notes.
Yeah.
In order to get the grade that I think you're hoping for, you're going to have to demonstrate a range of evidence that covers the project, yeah?
Yeah.
So, how are you going to do it? Let's talk about cameras.
Yeah.
What cameras are you going to use?
Sony Alpha camera, because I've tested out the college ones, and I feel that mine one has better video quality compared to the ones in the college.
Okay, do you know what quality you're going to be filming at?
Not 100% sure yet, no. I want to experiment with that and look online.
Okay, so you talked about distribution to different sort of platforms.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to shoot at a mediumly high quality and then crunch it down for the different platforms.
Yeah.
I think for this project, you need to nail it with the sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
The visuals will be nothing if the sound is not working properly.
I know what you mean.
So I want you to do quite a bit of testing with the sound. You saw how I made the effort to test, adjust. I want you to be able to do that. Obviously, you're using the Go mics now. If you're interviewing somebody, those are probably the best mics. Do you know how to use and set those up? Right, so we need to spend some time doing that. They're very easy to use, by the way. So operating the camera, choice of lenses, you've mentioned a few already.
Yeah.
So with your Sony, what's the mount on those? Is it 4/3? Or is it something different?
Yeah, I think it is that, yeah.
Okay, so you could use the college lenses with that?
I don't know whether they fit. It might be slightly different.
We need to check it out. I can't remember with Sony whether or not. But have you got enough variety of lenses? How many lenses have you got?
No, one mainly. I use a lot. 50 to 80 millimeter zoom.
Okay, that's going to restrict you a bit. So in that case, in order to prove your cinematic skills, you might have to use some of the college cameras with different lenses.
Okay.
If you're not scoring enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Lighting. You can. I mean, some of the lights we've got are portable lights, so they don't need plugging in. They've got batteries that can be charged up, and some of them are smaller, so you potentially could use those.
Okay.
I have got a tiny little light that is USB charged that can sit on top of a camera, and those are easy to use because you can light your subject as you're filming. So you might want to consider that. You might want to consider the lighting in the church. Have they got lights to turn them on?
Yeah.
Colour grading is going to be tricky, I think, because some of the beauty of churches is the fact that you've got light coming in, so you're always in a dark area being lit from the outside with artificial light.
Yeah, that's what I found with the testing. There was some natural and some artificial, so then it was hard just to colour grade all of it together because one section was brighter, one was darker.
Okay. What is the purpose of the video? Right, okay, so
Yeah.
is it to inform? Is it to entertain? Where does it sit as a video?
So if I go back. So in the demographics I talked about, it fits into multiple different categories. I feel like it can be entertaining and interesting because of the story behind it and what he's telling you.
Right.
But it also could be educational and people could watch it in, say, schools and things because it talks about the history of it. Yeah, those are the two main ones, but it does fit into quite a few different categories.
Are you yet clear about the messaging then? So if you're putting this on,
Yeah.
there are going to be key moments or key things that are said. So you need to be aware of what they are as a filmmaker to be able to push them.
Yeah.
And that might impact on your editing then.
I know there was a lot of emotion brought up when he talked to me about his son because it was to do with COVID-19. We were talking about that and how it affected the church.
Right.
And then he said about his son was the first paramedic in COVID to die. And there was a whole service to do with that. So we touched on that quite a bit. So maybe you could talk more about that to bring more emotion out. Whether he's comfortable with doing that is another thing. Yeah.
You're very lucky to have found him.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes you might, it's just like you and me are sitting here. If you're in a very relaxed environment and you've got the camera on, but you're using the camera really to capture his voice,
Yeah.
and just have a conversation and just let the camera roll and just let him talk and talk and talk, and then you can edit that down later.
Yeah.
Because you will have the visuals, you've just got to make sure you've got the introductory shots, and perhaps, you know, how does it finish with him? Does he look up to camera? Does he actually say something quite poignant, and then the camera goes onto something? You know, these are the things, the finishing touches.
Yeah.
How long do you expect this video to be?
About 15 minutes maybe? Because I don't want it to be too long that it gets boring, but then at the same time I don't want it to be too short.
Okay,
I feel like
15 sounds quite a lot.
Is that okay?
Again, it depends on your distribution. Because
Yeah.
what you might want to do is have something at 10 minutes, but then have a 1 minute highlight type thing, something for social media.
Yeah.
Again, you're thinking about your target audience, yeah?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because typically a documentary is about half an hour sometimes, but this could just be like a 10-minute slot
Yeah, 15 would be the max
Yeah,
though,
I was
so
going to
yeah.
say, and
Yeah.
then you might just struggle.